Ladies and gentlemen,
you're listening to the Hump's Heroes Tailgate Show Playoff Edition with Michael Dwayne Humphrey and special guest Michael Martin of Massey Toyota. Now, here's Hump.
Thank you, Susan. This is Michael Dwayne Humphrey along with Michael Martin from Massey Toyota. Massey Toyota is the sponsor of this podcast, the Bryan North Special Playoff Edition, High School Playoff Edition podcast. Massey Motor Company Massey Toyota located on Highway 70, and Michael Martin is a huge part of that. Well, I had a chance to speak to a legendary state national sports anchor, but we know him as local WCTI news anchor and sports director, Bryan North, who's been with the station since 1998. He's covered numerous Final Fours, Duke championships, Carolina championships. He's covered the Daytona 500 several times. He witnessed Dale Earnhardt's last tragic lap at that Daytona. He's witnessed the U.S. Open. He was at Pinehurst. Watched where Payne Stewart put it in that beautiful putt to win the U.S. Open over Phil Mickelson, which was an outstanding on Father's Day. He's covered so many events and local events. And the guy, he may not seem this way, Michael, but he is a humble guy. The guy is very humble, and he has been meant so much to the Eastern North Carolina. And I don't want to see this guy go. This guy's a staple. I will miss him a lot. And he's getting into that legendary status that Skip once had, and it still has. And we talked about him being and what year he came in, and this is fun. Michael and I had a good time.
Came in as sports director, then added news anchoring around 2008, and been straddling that fence ever since.
Bryan has been, as you mentioned, since 1998. He's been here 27 years, and he's becoming the legend. He is a legend. And there was a meteorologist that we all loved from WCTI, Skip Waters, who was at every single event, every parade, Christmas parade, made a lot of appearances, and he suddenly passed away after he retired. And I talked to Bryan about the status he has compared to Skip.
Yeah, 27 years. Now, Skip was here 32, and I could be here another 27 plus. I'll never be able to do what Skip did, all the events he went to, and class appearances and personal appearances, and the guy was a legend. But when you're around long enough, you kind of make your way around too, and always try to promote Skip's memory and all the great things that he did here. So it's always an honor anytime somebody mentions us in the same sentence. But I don't ever get it twisted. I'm not even close to being Skip Waters category, but I'm very happy to have been here this long and hope to be here a lot longer. And yeah, we cover 15 counties and beyond, and love to get out to each of the, I'm a small town guy. So for me, getting out to all those small towns is important to me, because I remember what it was like growing up in a small town and how important news coverage was to you. And I've always said, if you can get our TV signal, and now if you can get your internet signal and get us on YouTube and Facebook and all those things, then we should be out there covering what's important to you.
Bryan admits when he left to take over as a news anchor, he was scrambling to find somebody that could work and be that kind of guy that he was. Just try to be at every event that he could be, not necessarily be him, but try to be as available as he was. And I think they found one in Luke Swartz, who's an outstanding journalist. Sports journalist is almost everywhere. Every time I go to a game, and Michael mentioned this too, that Luke is there, he hustles, and it was an outstanding hire by WCTI and the news team.
We, when I'm looking for people to fill the sports role, that's what we look for, is people who want to run through a brick wall, who will be passionate about what they do. I can teach you all the ways, but I cannot teach passion and want to, and the ability to not worry about watching the clock and working 40 hours. Just, you want to get out there and cover everything, and Luke has that, and that's been a pleasure to have him here, and hopefully we'll keep him as long as possible. But I do understand that there's probably bigger and better things in his future if he wants them, and so we'll just enjoy the time he's here, and then we'll try to find another Luke Schwartz if and when he leaves.
let's talk now about South Lenoir Aiken Griffin in the first round of the playoffs. South Lenoir started the season off 3-1, but they finished 0-6 after that. Where do you think South Lenoir matches up against Aiken Griffin?
It's going to be tough. Now, Coach Proctor's done a nice job. He loaded the schedule with winnable games early, and up against North Lenoir, and that was their only win of the year, but that was a rivalry game I think they'd like back. But you have to learn how to win, especially South Lenoir, who had very few winning seasons through the years. And now Coach Proctor's in there, and he's trying to build that. And you have to build some confidence. But when you have those winnable games early, when you start getting into your conference, you start getting into that rivalry game with Kinston and North Lenoir, and then you figure out, how far you have to go. So having said all that, they've been beaten down a little bit in their conference, and East Duplin, that neighbor, that rival that they haven't beaten in a long, long time, kind of puts a damper on the end of your regular season. But having that next chance, their only problem is Aiden Grifton lost to their rival too, so that's going to have them refocused. So I'd say they're going to be a heavy underdog in that game, and the good thing is they don't have to travel a long way. They're familiar with Aiden Grifton, having been in that conference not that long ago, so they're kind of familiar with what they're getting into. But I think when you look at it on paper, it's going to be a major upset to start the playoffs if they could go in there and beat the Chargers, because AG is good, and their only losses, Farmville Central is a team that's beaten some good people, so they lose to them. They lose to Tarboro and DH Conley. That was kind of an anomaly game too, but Conley's pretty good. But so for Aiden Grifton, they're going to have to. Aiden Grifton's going to have to help them out if South Lenoir is going to want to win that game.
I was over at Kinston High on Friday night for the Tarboro-Kinston High game.
I missed that. That turned out to be a great game, and Kinston came back. Brian, what can you tell us about Kinston's chances? They play a North Moore team that's got a similar record as South Lenoir, didn't win the conference game. I think it's probably, they didn't get a bye week either, but they do face a team that they should beat pretty handily.
Yeah, so that's a team that had a lot of expectations. They had everybody returning, and gosh, some of us were thinking they could even go undefeated and beat Tarboro at Halloween night, and then they come right out of the gates and they stumble against South Central. And then they have a couple other games that I think they would love to have back. And so but the one thing Coach Gieselman will tell you, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I think he's kind of been building on that mantra. Let's get playing better here at the end of the year. And they have been. They have had the talent. They got the 2 Division I wide receivers. They've got a good quarterback who can sling it. They've got a good running back. It's been the defense they've been trying to pick up a little bit here and get ready for the playoffs. And so, look, there's no moral wins, but they gave Tarboro everything they wanted. I think if they could go back and change that, it's the slow start. But I think they felt that momentum in that second half. And now you've got to bottle that and use that as a springboard in the playoffs. And you start with a Northmore team that's got to travel a long way. So their legs will be a little leery. You jump on them, you get off to the hot start, you take care of business early, and then you get into what we call the real playoffs now with this new format, which is the second round, since so many teams have byes. But you use this as a good warm-up and springboard, and I think they have that opportunity as long as they use that Tarboro game as a positive instead of a negative.
Kinston should be coming out of that game on a high note, given the way they played in the second half. And I think they may have a little bit of momentum going in their favor.
Team I want to play in the playoffs. I just, they're talented, man. And if they catch fire now, look out. They could make a serious run because they have that talent. And the only thing you like about a bye week is you get the bumps and bruises healed up and get ready. But I think they would like that springboard to get that good feeling and that good taste in their mouths if they can get a good positive win at home.
What you saw in the second half was what Kinston High can do to teams. So if they're playing a team that is looking to, ground and pound, well, conversely, with Kinston High's offensive and defense, your skill players on offense are likely going to be secondary players and linebackers on defense. So if you're trying to ground the ball and really, relying on your running game on offense, that Kinston High passing attack is going to wreak havoc on you in the second half because your running backs are going to wear down.
It's from what I read and what everybody's told me, you guys, both of you, that they look like Tarboro might have been worn down a little bit from that running gun. Well, Brian, you said you thought that it was going to be a good game and Kinston would stay in it, but they had to come back.
Tonight, I just kind of had a feeling that was going to be a close game, because that has been Tarboro's kryptonite, is the passing game. And so when I got there, and it was already 22-8, and then they come out and Tarboro scores first play of the third quarter. But I just kind of felt like if Kinston could just settle down and get that passing game going, and then they were torching them now. And then they had that one drive where they get sacked on fourth down. They had a couple things go wrong on that one drive where they could have gone ahead. Instead, they give Tarboro a good field position. So if they could replay that game, I know they'd like to do some things different, including kind of getting adjusted to that running game early on. But that's just one of those games. I think they came out feeling better about themselves and knowing that they can compete at a high level if they just start putting it all together.
In that next game, if Kitson does win, and it looks like they'll have to play Midway, and that's going to be a tough game. But let's switch gears over to Parrott Academy. Brian, I saw you at the game in the first half, and John Paul was prepared. I mean, you could tell in the first half, and you and I discussed this at the game, that it looked like John Paul was going to run the ball down their throat. They held the time of possession almost the whole first half, or a lot of the first half. But give Parrott some credit. I mean, they stayed in there and eventually pulled ahead in the second half and won. So that's a team they may meet in the playoffs again. And if they do, it'll be the championship game at John Paul this year. And just well-coached team, John Paul.
I think Coach Murphy does a great job at John Paul, and they had the game plan, and this is what they used to beat Parrott last year. And he's been trying to perfect this time of possession, ground and pound, don't let Parrott on the field very much kind of philosophy, and it worked last year. And boy, he had it going again this game. And you try to limit Parrott's possessions and their explosiveness. And but I love that Matt Beeman came right back and said, okay, we're going to play you at your own game, and they came right back and did the same thing to them, limiting their possession. So I thought it was a brilliant coaching job by Matt Beeman all year. Yes, they have talent, and talent helps, but I thought that was to go to Cary Christian and then to go at home and beat JP2, and then you get home field advantage. I think that was a great job by Coach Beeman. And it gives kids confidence that no matter who they're going to face, they've already kind of taken care of that business. There's not going to be anybody better they face than what they did during the regular season. During the playoffs, now the intensity may go up. There may be challenges. And look, JP2 has got that formula that they're going to use if they meet them again to try and beat them. And so we look forward to the rematch, but I thought it was an impressive regular season. 11-0, right? Nobody else played 10 games. And 11-0, and so that was really impressive what they did, starting a week earlier than everybody else too. So that's been fun.
Right, their schedule was top heavy. Then in the middle of this season, they had about 3 weeks of teams that they should beat, but beating Evangel in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, they solidified themselves as a team that are going to be the hunted. And as I mentioned, I spoke to Chris Stimpson a while ago, and he's a confident kid who's their quarterback, their leader, and they're taking it, as Coach Beeman says, one game at a time. And I wouldn't want to play John Paul at John Paul in a championship game in a rematch. That would be tough.
No, but that turf is interesting. You can get faster on that turf, and we know Parrott's got some speed too now. So, but yeah, JP2 at home on that turf can always be good. They've had some classics now at that place through the years. They've had some awesome games. So yeah, well, look, let's let it all play out, right? Let's enjoy each week of the process, and we'll see, and things will take care of themselves.
And that's part one of two parts of our conversation with Brian North, the lead anchor and news anchor for WCTI TV12, and the sports guru and editor of everything sports. This guy knows his stuff, man. It was a great interview. I'm so thankful that he was able to do that. And on the second part two, Michael, we're talking Craven County schools. We're talking Duplin County schools. We're talking Wayne County schools, Jones County schools, Onslow County schools, Pitt County schools. We're talking about schools in the area, how they'll fare in the playoffs. And of course, Brian North knows them all, but he has covered them all, him and Schwartz. So thank y'all for joining me. Thank you again, Michael Martin. Thank you, Randy and Ryan Kelly, for part one of Massey Toyota Massey Motor Company. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. See ya.